Friends, welcome to Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our Virat Hindustan Sangam YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram channel. So we are on all the social media platforms and we are expanding. Today, we will be having an exclusive episode with Dr. Swamy dealing with the unanswered questions on Mahatma Gandhi's assassination. So, uh, I will wish to remind our viewers that you can join Virat Hindustan Sangam via our web page www.vhsindia.org and join the movement of Virat Hindustan Sangam started by Dr. Swamy. So, with this, I ask Dr. Swamy to please give us some background what you mean by unanswered question in the assassination of or the investigation leading to the murder of Mahatma Gandhi. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Yeah. Yes, I have had the chance of going through the Mahatma Gandhi assassination and also the trial and so on. I was also very ably supported and assisted by Mohandas, who came all the way here and spent almost a week, day to day, in the archives, reading the available declassified files, which were enormous. And I also benefited very much by N. Ram's effort in the Hindu to compile all the Hindu newspaper reportage from the time of the assassination, right up till the conviction of Godse for the murder of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, what I would like to do first is that just describe how the assassination proceeded and the follow-up proceeded, and then get to the question of the unanswered questions. First of all, Gandhi on 30th January, the last visitor he had was Sardar Patel. Sardar Patel had submitted his resignation from the cabinet of Jawaharlal Nehru, saying that he does all kinds of things without my knowledge, and and he really doesn't seem to want me in the government, so I'm resignation. Sardar Patel rebuked Indian army to the borders of the Hyderabad state. He did not send the troops into Hyderabad, but the mere presence of those troops in the border areas frightened the Nizam so much that he immediately signed the merger or the instrument of accession merging the Hyderabad state in India. And Sardar Patel was rebuked by Jawaharlal Nehru in the following cabinet meeting. He called him communal, and he said, "You are trying to change this whole culture of our India, of composite culture and all that rubbish." And so Sardar Patel said, "I've had it enough. I'm not going to proceed." Actually, the Congress party had selected Sardar Patel to be the Prime Minister's candidate in 1946. But Gandhi prevailed on him and said, "No, you propose Jawaharlal Nehru's name." Jawaharlal Nehru, out of 15 PCC presidents who were the voters, 14 voted for Sardar Patel, and only one, that is Acharya Kripalani, at the urging of Gandhi, that if he got 15-0, then even Gandhi would be humiliated. So Kripalani, who later I knew when we were fighting the Janata elections of 1977, I had long sessions with him. He told me the background of that. And so after that, I think Jawaharlal Nehru also began to ignore Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi told Sardar Patel, "I am going to now completely dissolve the present Congress party and create two new parties. One will be with the Jawaharlal Nehru, one part will be with you, and then we can proceed. But till then, please don't resign. So after saying that, he was about 10 minutes late for his prayer meeting, which used to start dot 5 o'clock. And with Manu and Abha, the two young girls whom Gandhi as a father figure doted on, he put his hand on each other's, his right hand on one shoulder and left hand on the other girl's shoulder, and he walked to the, it's about 60 yards away, the prayer ground to go. When he reached the platform for the prayer where Gandhi would sit, Godse confronted him and first did namaste to him, and then he took his revolver and shot him. Gandhi fell down, and then there was commotion, and Godse was caught red-handed, and so on. And then Gandhi was picked up and taken by an unknown person. Nobody has seen him since then. He picked up, and then along with the Abba and Manu, he was taken to not the hospital, but to the Gandhi, the Birla house, on he was alive, and when he was put on the floor in his room in Birla Bhavan, he asked for a glass of water, which they gave him. He was bleeding, but conscious, and conscious enough even to ask for a glass of water. And for a total of half an hour, he was alive. And after that, he died and pronounced dead. And then, of course, Mountbatten and others came running. So did Jawaharlal Nehru. And so that is the story. Since Godse shot point blank at Gandhi, and he was caught red-handed, and the trial was held, and the trial then found him guilty, and gave him death sentence, which and he was hanged. Now, in the trial, of course, Godse confessed that yes, I was the one who shot him, and so there was nothing much of a trial. The advocate for the public prosecutor was a man called Daftari, who later on became Attorney General in Indira Gandhi's time. And during the emergency, he was the Attorney General. And so this is the whole narration of the event. Now the question comes: what did the non-official sources say about the assassination? There was a big crowd, as always there was. There were two media important people. One was the reporter of Hindu, and the other was Associated Press. Both filed reports to say independently. They said that heard 4 shots. Why I'm emphasizing how many shots were fired is because there is a dispute on that. And I'll tell you what the dispute is in a minute. But they said it was 4 shots that were fired. Now, the FIR was not filed by the police, which normally is there in the prayer meeting, who are eyewitnesses, but a gentleman who you hold a hotel in Connaught Place called Marina Hotel. He went to Tughlaq Road station, and there he filed the FIR. And the FIR was filed at 5:45 after Gandhi had died by about 5:30 or 35. And he just said that 3 shots were fired, and Godse was the one who fired it. Now, the question is, first question, unanswered question is, why Gandhi was not taken to a hospital instead of to his room in Birla House? Who made that decision? There is nowhere in the trial this question was raised. The public prosecutor should have, but I think he was from the beginning. Daftari was a friend of the Congress Party, Nehru, and then later on Indira Gandhi. And so this question was never raised in the trial. Why he was not taken to the hospital? The hospital from Birla House was just 5 minutes drive that time, and that was what was called the Willingdon Hospital. And they could have rushed him in the car, and he would have been, he would have reached the hospital alive, and he could have been saved. I can't say he would have been saved, but he could have been saved. At least no business to take him. I mean, it was wrong to take him to his room and put him on the floor and allow him to die by bleeding. And since it was excessive bleeding, it is always, if you in a time you give medical attention, he could have been saved. So the question is, since Gandhi didn't die immediately, but was indeed alive and only bleeding, conscious, speaking, and therefore this question needs now to be investigated. Who was the one who decided it should go? Now, this brings me to the question that how many shots were fired? The FIR registered later by the police says 3 shots were fired. Public prosecutor in the trial also said 3 shots were fired. Godse wanted to make a statement, which it's not compulsory for him to make the statement, but under the criminal law, if he wants to make a statement, he can make a statement. As an accused, he made a statement in which he said, "I had come with the determination that I would only fire 2 shots." In fact, he was so close to Gandhi that even if he had fired, even the first shot, Gandhi could have fallen down. He was, after all, that time 78 years old in frail health. And but he fired 2 shots. Now the question is, who was the eyewitness to this shooting? The 2 girls, Abha and Manu. Now, what was their deposition in court? They were listed as witnesses, but Sir Daftari told court that no further information is necessary. So the 2 people who are eyewitnesses were not invited or not asked to come and take the oath of a witness and depose. What did they see? They had talked earlier to the police about what happened, but that report is suddenly, mysteriously disappeared. So the second unanswered question is, why Manu and Ava were not brought in as prosecution witnesses when they were direct eyewitnesses of the shooting? Because they saw Godse standing in front of them, pick out gun and shoot. So this is the second question that needs to be asked. Now, on the question of when he died, how he died, who are the people who saw him, all these things should be normally found out in a post-mortem. Gandhi never had any post-mortem. So the third unanswered question is, why was there no post-mortem? Later on, there was an inquisition, but inquisition is not the same thing as post-mortem. So this question also nobody has asked. There were some commissions of inquiry for set up, Khosla Commission, etc. None of them asked this question. Now, I want to ask you, in a criminal trial today, if there's ever a criminal trial on a murder question, do you think that post-mortem report would not be the fundamental thing. Godse would have been freed in the normal times. You would have been freed on the grounds of insufficient evidence when there is no question of post-mortem. Moreover, the gun with which he shot Mahatma Gandhi was an Italian gun. Italy is also coming to here also, but it was an Italian revolver, which was a prized possession of the British soldiers who, along with the Americans, occupied in World War II Italy. And there were hardly, I'm told there were only subsequently found out only 3 such revolvers in India. Who gave him that revolver, which was only a possible person who could have given it to somebody from the British Army? But according to the police investigation, somebody in Gwalior, he gave it to Godse when he came in Gwalior in an earlier trip. But that person was never asked, who gave it to you? How did you get it? Something which was a prized weapon for Mussolini's time. How did you get it? Obviously, you must have got it from the British, because they were the only ones who were collecting as souvenir this Beretta. It was called the Beretta revolver. So this revolver, no many bullets were shot. Had examined the bullets, would have known whether it's come from the same revolver or it has come from somewhere else. If there were 3 shots, according to the prosecution, there should be 3 empty chambers in that revolver. But the revolver was not available in the trial. And moreover, if there were 4 shots, then those bullets in Gandhi's body should have told you whether they came from the same gun or not. So whether it was 3 or whether it's 2, whether it was 4, this is a major unanswered question, which can be today regarded as a mistrial, and the whole thing can be reopened. Now, the question also is that Godse was taken into custody and freed on 20th January 1948. 20th January, a man called Madan Lal Pava had tried to blow up Gandhi in the prayer meeting, but they were so incompetent that the bomb that they had exploded in the hedge near the prayer ground, and before it could be placed in the prayer ground and the prayer platform where Gandhi was sitting. So Pava ran away. Whether he was led to run away or not, we don't know. But Godse was taken captive, and then mysteriously he was let off, and they said that Godse has escaped. Moraji cited him. Moraji was the home minister of the Maharashtra, of the then called Bombay government, and he sent a message to Delhi saying that Godse is roaming around Bombay. Shall I take him into custody because of the 20th January incident of explosion, which misfired explosion? And the answer came from the center that no, it's not required. So Godse was let free. And then on the 26th of January, he arrived by plane. Godse could not afford plane fares earlier, but that particular day he arrived by plane. And he stayed in the Marina Hotel, whose owner went later on to file the FIR. Another mystery which has not been connected. But why did he go and file it? Why didn't the police file it in where he was when Gandhi was shot, and they saw it all red-handed. So Moraji was rebuffed, and so told him that no, you don't need to arrest him. So somebody wanted Godse free, and if I were to spin a theory, I would say that if whoever wanted him assassinated felt that Godse was an incompetent fellow, but he is burning with fire to kill Gandhi. So he is the obvious choice to be an assassin. But we will have a marksman some distance away, and he will fire the fourth bullet or the third bullet. If there were three bullets, then the fourth bullet. If there were two bullets only, as Godse says, then it is the third bullet. And there's no way of knowing it, because the bullets, the bullet head which are embedded in his body was not available. But when Gandhi's body was taken, everybody noticed that there were 4 holes in his body. And that, the prosecution explained, was that one of the bullets entered from the front, and then it moved. It came out of his body from another direction, from the side direction. So it is possible that Godse, being an incompetent fellow, he might have fired, and then Gandhi must have, been by the hit of the velocity of the bullet, might have began to fall, and at that time the second bullet went and hit him on his side. We don't know, but this is another question. That since the revolver has gone missing, Beretta, and there are 4 wounds, and it was blithely explained away by the public prosecutor that this is one bullet which entered and went out. No evidence was submitted. No post-mortem was there. So it could not be verified at all. So now the question then becomes that who gained by the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi? Well, after first of all, let me tell you, in the trial, out of the blue, they brought, on Nehru's orders, Savarkar as a conspirator, and the government knew that Savarkar is going to be acquitted. So they told the police commissioner of Delhi, and that man has recorded somewhere, I will bring it out when necessary, that the British told him that the trial was coming to an end, that when Savarkar leaves the courtroom acquitted, make sure there is no one to receive him. Because if they had known that Savarkar, if the public had known that Savarkar was going to be acquitted, there would have been a big crowd outside the courtroom in Lal Killa, and they would have all cheered him and taken him. But the spin was all through in the media, only this, that he is also a conspirator and he will also be convicted. One doesn't know why Gopal Godse was sent for life imprisonment and what his involvement, because it was just another shotgun justice that was given. But all that is peripheral. What is peripheral, not peripheral, what is central is, why didn't you have Manu and Abha depose? What is it that they were likely to say which would have blown the case, or would have shifted the suspicion onto somebody else also? There's no doubt in my mind, and the evidence is clear, that Godse did fire the Beretta revolver, and he himself confessed to it. So since he has confessed to it, and there is enough evidence to show that he is the one who fired those 2 shots, therefore, or 3 shots, therefore, on that issue, that Godse did a damn foolish betrayal of our country by killing a person, ending up empowering all the anti-Hindu forces in the country. In fact, if his hatred for Gandhi being anti-Hindu made him try to assassinate him, I'm telling you, no one has done more for hurting the Hindu cause than Godse by firing bullets on Mahatma Gandhi. So the question, therefore, also is who gained by it. And here I've got a document which is very, very interesting. It is a conversation reproduced by the British ambassador to Moscow. And what does he say? Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, ambassador of India in Moscow, had just come to see me. And this was when? After about 6 weeks after Gandhi's assassination. And she said that the British are not understanding, and this is his quotation of what she said. And he put it in inverted sign, the inverted marks as they call. He quoted her to say that the whole country today thinks that the British were responsible for the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. In what way and all, she didn't say. And the British should therefore do counter propaganda against whom? The Russians, who are doing the maximum propaganda about this. The Russians are saying this, that assassination was actually carried out by the British, which means the fourth bullet from the marksman. This is my guess now. I'm not saying that there's any evidence of this, but the fourth bullet, which the Hindu newspaper correspondent heard, which the Associated Press heard, the fourth bullet must have been fired by the British chosen marksman. And that's, I mean, it fits my theory. And therefore, this is something that needs to be explained. Now, I have never seen a murder trial. And you see, you've seen the murder trial of Nirbhayas, how much time it took. This was finished all in 2-3 months, you see, or a few months. And what was the side effect of that? The implication of Savarkar and to defame him, and 2, the ban on RSS. The interesting part of this ban on RSS is that Sardar Patel, who as Home Minister ordered the ban, when after a year the RSS ban was lifted unilaterally by the government, wrote a congratulatory letter to Guruji and said, I have never been so happy as today to see that you have been freed, without any charge. Now, question is, if they were, RSS was an accused, they should have been named in the trial. They should have been prosecuted. It should have been there in the when they were filing the charges. RSS name doesn't figure anywhere. On what basis this propaganda has been going on that RSS did the assassination? Yes, Godse attended the Shaka, but so did so many congressmen. I can give you the name of Vasant Sate, who attended lots of Shakas of RSS before he went to join Congress. I can give he was an MP for Congress, Muslim gentleman. He too attended Shaka, and he told me also very proudly that I attended Shakas. So, there are many people who attend Shaka. Shaka, there is no Chowkidar standing saying you can come and you can't come, and you cannot leave once you come. None of that. So there cannot be that because at one stage in 1942 or 41, Godse attended Shaka, so therefore he's RSS. So, or if you had some more material, it should have come out in the trial. In the trial, there is no reference. In the judgment of the court, there is no reference to RSS. So it was a plan of Jawaharlal Nehru to target Hindutva forces, because Hindutva had got a great boost after the murder and butcher of Hindus coming across. Of course, there were more murder and butchering going on both sides. But I'm telling you, as far as the Hindu movement, Hindu sentiment is concerned, the RSS role in saving people had. I know my own mother; she was a pakka fan of RSS. She was a bigger fan of Hindu Mahasabha, but she always had very good opinion of RSS. So in my early childhood, outside my house, there is a big public garden where RSS Shaka is there. So as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy, I used to attend RSS Shaka. But after Gandhi's assassination, my father made sure that I don't attend any more shakas, etc. But I'm saying that this was their height of their popularity, and Jawaharlal Nehru used it to defame RSS on it. So now, why was it necessary to assassinate Mahatma Gandhi if the British are employed? What were involved? What was the compulsion of the British that Gandhi should be assassinated? If I mean, I'm now posing a theoretical question because this angle has never been examined. Gandhi had a private secretary called I forget his name. He wrote a book, Last Will and Testament of Mahatma Gandhi, and it was a big bestseller in those days. He wrote in that book that Gandhi told Sardar Patel, "I am going to create two parties and dissolve Congress party, and one will go to you, another will go to Jawaharlal." And of course, Pyare Lal, his name is. He said, of course, everyone would have gone with Sardar Patel, nobody would have gone with Jawaharlal Nehru. But anyway, two parties to be created. And this meant the return of Sardar Patel as Prime Minister, because he would have had the bigger support in the Congress party, in the undivided Congress party, now divided. And there were two people the British never wanted anywhere near power. One was Subhash Chandra Bose, and the other was Sardar Patel. And so, to prevent Mahatma Gandhi from going ahead, to create two Congress parties and thereby lose control over the prime ministership. And of course, Nehru was a very willing, fan of. He was a great fan of the British, both as a community as well as in individual members whom I shall not name. And therefore, the British had an incentive to kill Mahatma Gandhi, because he would have made sure that all that the British had invested to see that the future of India remains in the British camp, joins the Commonwealth, and accepts the king, and then later on the queen, the head of the Commonwealth. All these and only Jawaharlal Nehru could do that. So therefore, these are all my opinions, but I am saying that the facts I have given require a reopening of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi as to what really happened. Yes, there is no question of reviewing Godse's matter. Godse was, at the very least, an attempt to murder Mahatma Gandhi was there. Now he has been hanged, the matter is over, and there's nothing to reopen there. But the question is, was there a conspiracy to kill Mahatma Gandhi? And I have brought out all this to show that any court, and I, as a person who has studied law very intensely, I'm telling you that even half this will create a reopening of the case. I leave it to our government to decide, because a great injustice has been done over the years on the RSS and on Savarkar and so many others, and we need to know the real truth or the whole truth about the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer it.
Yeah, Dr. Swamy, quick question.
Yeah.
In 1966, there was also another Kapoor Commission report, right? That somebody they created because Godse, the brothers were released and all those things. There was some furor over it. So, can you give us some highlight on what that report is and what?
Now, that report is just simply whether Godse got a fair trial, but it didn't. Who were there to all these facts have not been brought out. I would not have been brought out, but for there was also another person. I think his name is Patna. It was a Maharashtrian whose book I think I released in Bombay. Jagdish might remember.
Pankaj Fadnis.
He Pankaj
Fadnis.
Fadnis, yes. So Fadnis has done a lot of research on it, but he was a little too anxious to go quickly to the court, and ultimately the court didn't do justice, because it's a question of how you present these facts also. And I told him, don't be in a hurry, but he didn't listen. In fact, he began suspecting why I'm asking him to delay, because the research that Mohandas did, that has brought all this out. And none of this was, or most of this was not there in Fadnavis's research, to my recollection. But anyway, be as that may be, his attempt to reopen the thing is a justified attempt, even if it was done not to the has and use the Kapoor Commission itself to show that they have not considered these things, and these are all obvious and known. The mere fact that Gandhi was not taken to the hospital and allowed to die bleeding, that's enough to shock anybody's conscience. And anyway, all put together, I think that's all that it was just a whitewash job, and it was set up for that purpose.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for that enlightening session. Ramesh, you have anything else to add?
That's it, Jagdish. Thank you.
I must apologize to our viewers.
Is there any doubts in your?
No, it is very interesting
Yes.
aspects which many Indians and the world at large did not know on the this
Yeah.
aspects of the assassination. So you are raising relevant questions, and somebody must answer it, or there must be some investigation into these aspects. I apologize.
I raised it in Parliament in a special mention, but no follow-up action has taken place by the government.
I must apologize to our viewers that due to some Wi-Fi fluctuation at Delhi, some parts of our on Dr. Swamy's speech or audio was disturbed. So please bear with us, because in these days of lockdown, it's nothing much we can do at the moment. So please bear with us. Although we are in the 29th episode, things have been quite good. But today we had a lot of fluctuation due to Wi-Fi and a few other episodes for short periods. So please bear with us. We will try to improve much as possible. Technically, we are doing our best in the limited resources and conditions which are prevailing at the moment. So with this, we come to another end of another interesting episode. We'll be back tomorrow 8 p.m. And I wish to inform our viewers that as of now, on the 2nd of May at 8 p.m., Dr. Swamy and Mr. Tarak Fateh will be in a discussion on this show. So do keep in tune. But tomorrow we'll see you at 8 p.m. Thanks, Ramesh. And thanks to our team for their active support for putting together this program, Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom, on Virat Hindustan Sangam channel. Dhanyavad. Thank you and Jai Hind. Namaste.